Network nonprofits are simple, agile organizations that are transparent enough to let insiders get out and outsiders to get in. They're also experts at using social media to really spread their mission. So there's the definition. And in the book, we found that there were two kinds of nonprofits. There were network nonprofits that were already born in that way and working in this networked way. And then there were those that were trying to change. And many that we came across, we called them fortresses. So a fortress nonprofit has trouble adopting and working with social media because they're typically very bureaucratic. They're very top-down, hierarchical, command and control organizations. When they do their strategic plans, they go into a room for 3 days, they paint the windows green, and they create the perfect strategic plan. They don't get any input. If they have to issue a press release, it takes 3 months because 50 people have to edit it, and God forbid if you use the wrong font or the wrong PMS color on the logo, you're out. So how many of you work for fortresses?
I consider us a fortress, but we're breaking down the walls. That's what I'm hoping anyway. I'm actually more of an ally than I am part of the fortress culture, and they've been trying to find a way to accommodate me, and so in a lot of ways they're making great strides. So the first thing we're doing is we're learning how to be a network weaver. Instead of really just needing to play this role of owning things and owning relationships, we're really trying to introduce people to other meaningful people and relationships. We're trying to map out the current relationships that we have within the organization and getting to know our staff and who they're talking to. And
you're making connections with people who don't necessarily care about your logo or branding document, but really care about your cause. How do you sell that to your bosses?
You know, I recognize that a lot of the people who kind of stand in your way and build up the walls are doing their job to protect you. So the way I do it, actually more recently, someone's been using our brand to create this fun kind of blog activity, and I won't call that out specifically, but it's awesome, and we're so excited, all the people who do work with bloggers at our organization. But, you know, we had to send like a pre-letter to legal to be like, listen, just so you know, this is going on and we like it, so don't send them a letter of like cease and desist kind of thing.
I ended up grabbing a camera and doing something that I've ran by a boss at one time or another, where I've said, hey, let's try this. And they go, no, it's too risky. No, it'd never work. No, it's too low tech. No, it's this. And it worked. So I do something called InvisiblePeople.tv where I travel around and empower homeless people to tell their own stories, you know, kind of letting go of it. And I should preface it by homeless services because we all fight for the same scraps. You know, the nonprofits are here and we're down at the bottom. We are so not into tech and not into change. And it's really a fight. It's a constant fight. But I run into basically 3 types of organizations. There's the kind that embrace me. For instance, Mobile Loaves and Fishes here in Austin, Texas. He was, you know, Alan Graham was like, hey, come visit, man. I'll buy you a barbecue, man. You got to get here. Because what he had going on was really cool, and he was, you know, into sharing. Then there's the nonprofits that still want to control. You know, they invite me or say, hey, you can come in, but you're on a guided tour, and every person, you know, they put them on a platform for you to say, oh, here's Sherry. Why don't you interview her? And no, that's not what I do. And then there's the kind that totally shut me down. I was going into New York City, and a very large organization in New York City literally threatened nonprofits that if they talked to me, they would stop funding them. So those are the 3 demographics that I run into. But as a free agent, I mean, I have to show worth. I mean, it's like whether I'm working with a brand or whether I'm working with a nonprofit, I have to come in and say, hey, I can help you. There's got to be, you know, relationships are 2 ways. It's not just, you know, me doing my own thing. I also have to be flexible. As I say, okay, you have these fortress nonprofits. Well, I also have to be willing to do some of the stuff that they do. And at the end of the day, that they've benefited, whether it be donors or awareness or something about their cause at the end of the day that I've helped them achieve.
Generally speaking, the relationship to information is very different in the Middle East. What we take, and I'm an American living there, and so I grew up here, and what we take as sort of normal in the way that we think about information, evaluate it, what we expect from our journalists is very different from the same sort of environment in the Middle East. And information, as we all know, is a foundation of building campaigns, but it's difficult to do that. Access to information is much more circumscribed, both legally and technically, because infrastructure isn't as good, and the cost is very high to access information and through internet or telecom. There's also a lack of data. This is something that we hear all the time in civil society. And there's a lack of Arabic content on the web, which means that a lot of the discourse that takes place around these issues and around technology is taking place in English, which is really restricting access to a lot of the other people.